Hello and welcome back everybody to another edition of Cooking with Sun King. It is I, Chef Steven, here at the signature table at Fisher's Test Kitchen with our great friends from Green Bean Delivery to provide you with a wonderful, super easy Mexican chocolate sheet cake featuring Chocolate Caliente Mexicano. To get started, we are going to do a couple of different techniques that are very unusual in the cake making world. There's gonna be some boiling water or beer in this particular instance. We're also going to heat up some stuff for the frosting as well. So this all comes together very quickly. We don't have to worry about room temperature this or whatever. We're actually just going to be able to cook some stuff, mix it up, bake it off, and frost it in just a couple easy steps. So let's get going. If you've heard the term sheet cake, that comes from a sheet pan. Ours is what they would call a half sheet pan. This should fit in most home ovens. If you have a full sheet pan, there's a really good chance that it's not going to fit there. But because this batter is cooked the way it is, it pours really easily. We don't have to worry about too much spreading. It'll actually kind of all take care of that itself. I do have this lined with a little bit of parchment and some cooking spray, and then we can jump right in and make some cake. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Aw, sheet. So to get started, cake happens in two parts. We're gonna start with our dry mix. Just some organic flour and sugar, and then this great stuff. Sweet chili fire seasoning from Spice Mode. It has a little bit of cinnamon, which is very traditional Mexican chocolate, but it also has some chilies and a little bit of cumin and some paprika, and you're probably thinking to yourself, Steven, why are we doing this in a cake? And that's because it goes perfectly with our beer. So this incredible Imperial Stout is kind of aged in some hot sauce barrels, along with some cinnamon. And of course, the beer itself is gonna provide this really nice chocolatey note, and that will be the base liquid for this. So this is a kind of pourable cake batter, and we'll kind of touch on the actual process of getting the liquid in there here in just a second. To our saucepan, we are going to add 2 sticks of organic cultured butter. The cultured gives us the opportunity to provide a nice little bit of, not tartness, but just a nice little round flavor that doesn't normally come in sweet cream butter. 2 sticks of that. To our 2 sticks of butter, we are going to add 1 cup of our Chocolate Caliente Mexicano Stout. And then finally, just a very simple 1/4 cup of your favorite cocoa powder. We will whisk that together, and we just need this to come to a simmer. This helps bloom the cocoa, so it provides as much flavor as it can. It also allows us to do something really fun with the cake, and we'll talk about that as we go over there. And then we'll work on our dry mix. So for our actual cake mix, we are going to go in with 2 cups of our King Arthur organic all-purpose flour, 2 cups of granulated organic sugar, pinch of salt. Salt makes the chocolate taste more chocolatey. And then we'll go in with our sweet chili fire seasoning. Again, just a touch on that. And then just a little bit of baking soda, teaspoon. Perfect. We will whisk that to combine just to get everything nice and mixed. So when we pour in our other wet ingredients, they will combine evenly so we don't overwork the flour. That would make our cake tough. Cool. So now we get to add our liquid. So this liquid just came to the boil, and the butter is melted and everything's good to go, but we kind of want to stir while we're doing this. Ready? Adding the hot liquid at this point also helps gelatinize the starches in the flours, so your cake will stay nice and moist. Perfect. To that, we are also going to add just a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/2 cup of full-fat sour cream, and then 2 eggs. We will give this a stir now. Obviously, you don't want to add your eggs in until last because they could curdle because of the hot liquid. So the sour cream will help cool things off, and we've got a nice pourable consistency in our batter. Don't have to overmix this for sure, just until everything is combined and it's nice and glossy. We will go back in with our spatula just to make sure we've got all the sides. We will now go into our prepared sheet tray. So again, just a little piece of parchment and then some pan spray, and I'm gonna pour towards you if that's all right. And then we'll give it a couple taps for good luck. That also releases some of the air bubbles, and then we go to the oven. So this goes into an oven at about 400 degrees. The cake itself should take anywhere from 18 to 20 minutes. I like to turn it once halfway through, and then we want to cool it completely before we get started on our frosting. So while our cake is cooking, we want to make sure as soon as that's done, like I said, about 18 to 20 minutes away, we want to make sure that is 100% cool before we go to frost this. This cake is very moist and also very delicate. So if we frost while it's hot, it'll inevitably tear, and that's why you fix things with sprinkles. Very similar to how we put our cake together. We are going to bring some butter, a little bit of chocolate milk from Dandy Breeze, and then some more cocoa powder to a simmer. And then we're gonna dump that into 1 pound of confectioner's sugar, add a little bit of vanilla, of course a little salt, and then we'll be ready to frost our cake and then see what happens. Let's get going. So to get this frosting started, we are going to go in with exactly 1 pound of powdered sugar. You don't really have to worry about sifting this or anything. We are going to use just a hand mixer to get all this ready to go. We'll add our vanilla in just a little bit later. We don't want to add it in too early. And of course, a nice pinch of salt. As previously mentioned, salt always makes our sweet things taste better. And so we'll go over to the stove and heat up some more stuff. So the frosting comes together pretty simply from here. We are going to take 1 stick or 4 ounces of more delicious cultured butter. And then we've got 6 tablespoons of really delicious, super thick chocolate milk from Dandy Breeze Creamery. And then we'll let that melt briefly. And then we will go in with the same kind of 1/4 cup of our cocoa powder. And so we mix this up. We are going to constantly stir this just because it is a little thicker than our first mixture. We don't want it to scorch, but we just do want it to come to a bare simmer without throwing it all over the place. And this is going to be what flavors our frosting. So we do want to work quickly here. And so we've got our chocolate milk and butter mixture. And again, just a nice another teaspoon of vanilla extract. We've got our pinch of salt already in there. Now we whisk. Again, we don't want to frost that cake until it's cooled. So we will set this aside, keep it covered. It will form a skin. That's kind of one of those classic sheet cake variants. And then we will go to the plate. And just like that, we have our Mexican chocolate sheet cake featuring Chocolate Caliente Mexicano from the wonderful people at Sun King Brewing. And as always, we want to thank all of you for following along. We hope you love this recipe and want to go home and immediately make it. Honestly, it takes about an hour tops, even with baking. The thing you're going to be waiting the longest on is just for that cake to cool, but it's great. It's got a beautiful flavor. You get a little hint of chili with all of that delicious chocolate and of course that delicious beer. So it's a great pairing and we love doing it. So we thank you all for following along. Of course, we want to thank the wonderful people here at the signature table at Fisher's Test Kitchen. And of course, our wonderful friends at Green Bean Delivery. You can find these recipes along with everything else that we've done for Cooking with Sun King there. Links are down there. greenbeandelivery.com/blog if you're paying attention. If you are hanging out on Instagram and Facebook, head on over to YouTube. There will also be some like and subscribe buttons and then that little bell right in the corner. Go ahead and ding that guy. You will get notifications as to when we put up brand new videos, so you can follow along with us there too. Also down below are the links to everything Sun King. So the merch and everything else that we have going on. You support Sun King, that means you support us, which gets you more delicious Cooking with Sun King content. So as always, we want to thank all of you for following along. Still Chef Steven, have a great day.